Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. My name is Nikki New, aka Nick to the New, and I'm the creator in front of Are You Mud, the podcast for the people. Today we start our new segment entitled Mad News, where we discuss all things mad in the world today. So, before we get started, I've been talking to you guys a little bit about Niger, what's been going on in Niger. So apparently Niger's military, or the coup, wanted us to get some things clarified. Okay, so the Niger junta, they have a few words for the internal and external security of Niger. And let's get straight to it. I apologize. I just clicked out of the link that I had the story shared from. But just so that we are all up to date, is Niger's right now is in the spotlight because their coup has ousted their president. Now, this was back in July 26th of this year. So as of July up until now, the president has actually been is under house arrest. Okay, so let me just give you a little bit of a clip. So it says Niger military junta has said it will prosecute the deposed President Mohamed Bazoum for high treason and undermining state security, as concerns were raised about the detention conditions and health of Bazoum and his family. So if you all remember from my last Mad News update, they were discussing the conditions in which the ousted president has been, how they're treating him basically while he's been under, house arrest. But the coup, or the junta, wanted to clarify a few things so that there's no misunderstanding and or misinterpretation as to why the coup has moved in this manner. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's go straight to the them speaking up. All right, so the statement on Bazoum's prosecution came hours after the junta indicated to religious mediators that they were open to a diplomatic resolution to the crisis that followed the July's coup. So it seems like the military, or the junta, had already clarified with religious mediators on how they would diplomatically resolve their internal conflict within the country. So it says a spokesperson, this is according to The Guardian, is the name of the news journal that I'm reading this from. It says a spokesperson said on state television that the regime had gathered evidence to prosecute the ousted president and his accomplices, apparently referring to messages that Bazoum has communicated with foreign countries during his house arrest. The junta's announcement said high-ranking West African politicians, maybe the ECOWAS I told you about, go check the last Mad News to know more about them or learn a little bit more about their status. It says the junta's announcement said high-ranking West African politicians and their international mentors had false allegations and attempted to derail a peaceful solution to the crisis. Okay. And in order to justify military intervention. So understand that the Niger's president was ousted by his own military July 26, and they have reasons for it that they'll continue. It said Bazoum was being charged following his exchanges with these people. The statement did not identify specific Western countries and did not specify a date for the trial. Bazoum, Niger's democratically elected president, was ousted by members of his presidential guard on the 26th of July and has since been under house arrest with his wife and son. So then the junta spokesperson speaks up. I don't see it here. I did watch it earlier, but let me see something. A junta spokesperson Amadou. Okay, announce. Okay, yes, he announced on state television. Amadou Abradamane announced on state television on Sunday night that the military regime had gathered the necessary evidence to prosecute before competent national and international authorities ousted international authorities that ousted a president and his local foreign accomplices for high treason and undermining the internal and external security of Niger. Okay, people close to the president as well as those in his ruling party say that families' electricity have been cut off. All right, so that they're saying that the people are saying that the president's electricity and water has been cut off, but the junta is stating that they were holding this was internal. Okay, he was ousted by his own military because of their reason. They have some charge that they're going to be pressing against him. Bazoum told Human Rights Watch that his son needed to see a doctor because of serious heart condition, but the junta said on Sunday that Bazoum was regularly seeing his doctor and that the last visit was on the 12th of August. So now it's like their word against his, as at least from the outsiders, us looking in and following along with the story. Okay. So it says the international pressure is growing on the junta to release and reinstate Bazoum. So if you all have noticed, the ECOWAS have also put out, their standby on military and all of these matters. They were also ready to reinforce military action in Niger. So the junta is saying that these pressures, international pressure, is growing on the junta, okay, to release and reinstate Bazoum, which is the president that his own military party, presidential party, ousted. Okay, so immediately after the coup, the West African regional bloc, ECOWAS, gave the regime 7 days to return him to power and threatened to use military force. So that's where we quote on from the story. We quote on at that end of the threat, where if they don't release him, then they're going to embark military force. So we were kind of following along with how the ECOWAS were also following up with their word on how they were going to, apply that force. And we saw it firsthand. At least if you've been watching it, you've heard them say how they were going to go about it. And they went into extensive details on how and why. And the chief of defense was also called out. So immediately after the coup, the West African regional, they gave 7 days for him to return and threatened to use military force, right, if it did not happen, but the deadline came and went with no action from either side. So the ECOWAS said last week that it had ordered the deployment of standby military force for potential intervention to restore Bazoum, although it remained unclear when or if it would enter the country. Okay. A memo from Senegal security forces dated the 11th of August, seen by the Associate Press, indicated that the country had ordered a regroupment from bases in Senegal on Monday as part of its contribution to the ECOWAS mission in Niger. It was unclear what exactly was ordered to move or where it was going. Previous attempts by the ECOWAS to speak with the junta have foundered, and its delegations have been barred from entering the country. The African Union's Peace and Security Council is meeting on Monday to discuss, which is today, Niger's crisis and could overrule the decision if it feels that wider peace and security on the continent is threatened by an intervention. The statement regarding prosecution came hours after religious mediators met with the coup leader, General Abdourahmane, please forgive me, Tishiani, who indicated his regime was open to a diplomatic breakthrough. Okay, so we're going to keep following along with this story, something for you all to kind of pay close attention to. So apparently, President Mohamed Bazoum was actually ousted by his own military. Okay, they have reasons. They have some charges that they seem to be confident that it will stand up in internal and external affairs if presented. So this is something that we just want to. This is something that we're just going to keep our eyes on. Okay. So that's the latest with Niger. What do you feel? If you're watching this so far, make sure you like, okay, comment, and be sure to also subscribe. That helps us out, reach more people. Again, my name is Nicole, aka Nikki New, creator and friend of Are You Mod, the podcast for the people, in which we've started a new segment entitled Mad News, and this is where we shed light to all things that's actually mad in the world today. Okay, so our next topic. Let's see who we have next. Who's up? You know what was also brought to my attention? There seems to be a crisis or a catastrophe within the school systems. Okay, so then we're going to touch on the school crisis. It says, according to ABC News, it says it's gone from crisis to catastrophe. Schools scramble once again to find teachers. Okay. Now, I don't know about you. I do have a background in the education field where I was actually going through the process of becoming a middle school math teacher. If you don't know, then listen to the podcast. Shameless plug on most of our podcast platforms in which we discuss my career in the educational system. But anyway, teachers shortages made worse by pandemic show no signs of easing again this year in many parts of the country. That's actually concerning. I say that because, for one, I was that parent that was fortunate enough to be in a position to keep my child home to do virtual schooling and do the homeschooling aspect once the world got crazy. See, once the world got crazy and everything seemed like a big experiment, I was one of those parents that was like, you know what? It doesn't look like you guys have it all together or really have an idea or grasp as to what's going on or how to go about these things. And when we were giving suggestions, I remember being in a school advisory board meeting and being dismissed as if our requests and or concerns were invalid. So as a result, I then pulled my child out of the Philadelphia public school brick and mortar system, and then I put her into a more of a virtual atmosphere where I could do more homeschooling with her. She still had a teacher that she met with, but that's neither here nor there. So some parents, if you're still in a position to do so, I don't blame you. I needed to get my daughter actually in school because I still believe that social component is important. And now hearing that there's a catastrophe, I'm going to be paying a lot of very close attention to the ratios. So this article was written on August 13th, which was yesterday. It says that Vance Varner, it was written by Shannon Pettypiece. Okay, this is again ABC News article. Vance Warner is heading into another school year desperately searching for teachers and staff members, an English instructor, a special education teacher, a speech therapist. Now, these are important teachers to not have or to still be in search of, desperately in search of. So now, with that desperation, I'm now concerned about the quality of teachers we're going to. Okay. All right, because we're seeing a lot of jokes about the teachers being needed, and anyway, Varner, the superintendent of schools in Mifflin County, Pennsylvania, a rural community 30 minutes from the Penn State campus, said 4 of his teacher positions are still vacant, less than a month before the start of school. Okay, he said that with some positions getting 0 applications, he is preferring to fill some of the vacancies with people who have no teaching experience or training, which he rarely had to do a decade ago. There's a perfect storm in education right now. Okay, this is a quote, especially in rural communities such as ours, said Varner, who has worked as a teacher and an administrator in Mifflin County for 25 years. Now, why do you think that there's a shortage? Why? Put in the comments. Why do you think that there's a shortage with the teachers? Why don't they want to return to the schools? A little bit more will be coming out now. As millions of students get ready to head back to the classroom, school districts are once again scrambling to fill jobs as teacher shortages aggravated by the coronavirus pandemic show little signs of improving for yet another school year. According to interviews with more than a dozen academic researchers, teachers and administrators in rural, suburban, and urban school districts. Okay? So we're saying that Teachers aren't just trying to help students catch up from pandemic era learning losses. Many are also at the center of a pitched culture war as politicians accuse them of indoctrinate children and turn their syllabuses into campaign fodder. But many education leaders say the real problem in classroom is the lack of instructors. At first, it was a teacher shortage. Then there was a teacher shortage crisis. Then it was a teacher shortage catastrophe. And it just escalates, said Mark Klaisner, the president of Illinois Association of Regional Superintendents of Schools. Our kids deserve so much better, and it just feels almost criminal because we're not providing the quality that we would if we could find the candidates. Okay, so first there was a teacher shortage crisis. First it was a teacher shortage. Then it went from the teacher shortage to the teacher shortage crisis. Now it is up to the teacher shortage catastrophe. And it's escalating. Yeah, I need some comments below. I'm going to need us to comment below because that's alarming. That's concerning as a parent. I'm really going to be on these at these meetings, and I'm really going to be checking in with these teachers and their well-beings. Why do you think that's so? I mean, the way they did the teachers, it was kind of rough. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them have just left, because I remember it was just so much pressure for the teachers. The old school teachers, I remember during the time of the pandemic. Any of you have children? I don't know about you, but my child started like her formal years of teaching during the crisis, where she was preparing for kindergarten and they weren't sure if they were going to go in school or not. So then we had to go pick up laptops, right? Those Google MacBook, those Chromebooks, right? Everybody got a Chrome notebook. So we all have that. We were like the teachers, depending on the tech savvy nature of the teachers, a lot of them were uncomfortable. Some of them really needed some assistance because, again, a lot of them weren't technologically savvy. Some of them were the ones that were excelled. And I even saw them in my daughter's virtual school. Excuse me. Shout out to K-12 if you're looking for a public virtual school. I don't get paid for that, but I do know that they definitely helped us. It is a lot of work. I'm not going to hold you. It's a lot of work because you got to be with your child and making sure that they understand each lesson. And that's when you realize that that's when you realize that education and learning happens everywhere, everywhere from cooking to, measurements for we talk about windows and, like the shade and heat. It's everything science. I mean, I thought it was an amazing program. So check it out if you were a parent that is not sure and maybe you're in one of those areas where, there's a teacher shortage and you do have some time to spend with your child and can, instill those lessons. I highly recommend it. At least I know what kind of learner my child is. Just saying. I thought I personally was very grateful for that time that she and I had, but I realized that she's getting older and she ain't got time for me. And guess what? Let me stop. I love my little one. Yeah, so that is the teacher crisis. So pay attention to that. Let's talk more. Follow me on all platforms. Are You Mad? ARGH, letter U, MAD. There may be an underscore if you type ARGH and my lovely logo doesn't pop up. Then you should just type ARGH underscore, and then you should see in the letter U. I'll come right up. I'm almost everywhere, all the time. All right. So what else do we have next? We got a few things just to discuss. Oh, yes. Lizzo. Man, oh, man. Lizzo is being dethroned. Yo, like this is kind of serious. This is kind of real, okay? Not kind of real. This is actually very disheartening to watch at the same time because you know, Lizzo did such a great job in, pushing that message for body positivity. You know what I mean? Pushing that agenda. Yitty. I've been seeing her line now. She's got the line Yitty, where she's got the undergarments or the shapewear for the plus size girls. And I told you I'm new to the plus size community, so I was looking at Yitty like, okay, now what y'all got going on? I'm just saying, what y'all talking about? All right. So anyway, so Lizzo Lee, according to Vibe magazine, Lizzo reportedly dropped from Super Bowl. Okay, she's dropped from the Super Bowl consideration amid lawsuit from ex-employees. Lizzo was reportedly being considered as a performer. She was being considered as a performer for the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is so big. Super Bowl is so huge. I saw Lizzo. I saw you at Made in America when you were out there a few years ago. I think it was 2019. I was there. That was the last concert live concert that I attended since the world got crazy with the pandemic. And I saw her, and that was before I even knew who Lizzo was. But apparently, she's been doing this for years. So apparently, Lizzo's been making a trail for her name for years, and she is pushed through the doors. And now that she has these allegations that are coming up against her, is really taking a toll on her career. It's really taking a toll on her career, man. And that's wild. That's wild. I mean, was that what the girls were trying to do? Were you trying? I mean, I knew you wanted to get it out there that she wasn't the best employer to work under. Great. But do we want to destroy her career while doing that? Karma is very, very real. We got to be mindful. But again, like I said, I don't know Lizzo's karma too. So I'm also touching on this. So let me read what the Vibe wrote. You can check it out yourself. Lizzo was reportedly being considered as a performer for the 2024 Super Bowl halftime show. But amid pending lawsuits, her name has allegedly been dropped from the conversation. The Grammy-winning singer has been accused by ex-employees of sexual harassment and fat shaming, as well as creating a hostile work environment. Lizzo, please, is your team on this? What are they doing? We got to get you back in conversation. I don't want to see this for you. Nobody wants to see this for you only because you've made it so far. And if this is your truth, you know what? Your best bet is to get ahead of that and apologize to these women publicly and get the mental health that you need. Get the healing that you need. Because I remember when this first aired, we were all taken aback, like, no, not Lizzo. These girls look like they're clout chasing and things of that nature. So we got to be careful when we're saying people are clout chasing too, because I'm gonna admit I was one of them, because I didn't like how fast those girls gave an interview to TMZ. Like, they didn't even let the story like settle with us. And I mean, I know it's their life, but I guess their team was got a hold of it. Like, oh no, Lizzo, and she's a black woman. Like, this is upsetting to me. It's kind of disturbing to me, honestly, because, you see somebody work so hard to make it to a point in their life or in their career where they now may be feeling satisfied, and then boom, they got hit with this. So Lizzo, this is the truth, girl. My recommendation is to go seek therapy. Okay? Mental health is real. And we wouldn't be surprised if you haven't healed from, the bullying, because you were probably bullied God knows how long all your life, and you finally made it. According to Daily Mail, an unnamed source stated, talks of Lizzo being a part of the halftime festivities or performing the national anthem are dead now that she is surrounded by scandal. I'm mad. I don't want to talk no more about this. I'm mad. I don't want to talk about this no more. I don't want to talk about it no more because it's upsetting me. It's upsetting my spirit. It's really upsetting my spirit. And I'm still mindful in all things that I do. And with that, I'm going to be mindful of this story and reading it out loud, because I do not wish this on, you don't wish this for anybody. You understand? No matter how cruel they are, we hope that they learn their lessons. But their well-being, like, that's kind of whack. That's definitely whack. Let's switch on to subject. Let's get to something more positive. Meg the Stallion addresses her haters. Let's talk about this. Yes. Up rocks. Thank you. Okay, so Meg the Stallion addressed her haters with a frank message on stage after Tory Lanez was sentenced to prison. Okay, so at long last, it finally happened last week. Tory Lanez was sentenced at long last. Damn, was sentenced to 10 years in prison for shooting Meg the Stallion. I call her Megan the Stallion. It looks like he'll end up actually serving closer to 9 years, though. Damn. Throughout the process, Meg has some haters come at her, and now she has a few words for them. While performing at the Outside Lands Festival this weekend, she addressed her audience saying, I just want to say, all my haters, none of that and none of that ish you was doing or saying broke me. None of that y'all been doing and saying to the hotties broke them. Period. Megan Thee Stallion sends a message to her haters during her set at Outside Lands Festival. Fuck all my haters. None of that shit you was doing or saying broke me. Period. And she got this cute little mini bikini top. It's like metallic blue, and she got like the blonde hair with like blue highlights at the top. Real cute. Okay, I would definitely like to watch this. Will it play for me? Okay, maybe not. All right, don't feel like going to X. Okay, so on 2022's Circle Loco, okay, Drake had a line that many interpreted to be about Megan. This bitch lied about getting shots, but she's still a stallion. However, Lil Yachty later claimed, shout out to Lil Yachty, the lyric isn't about Meg at all, but about women lying about getting surgery. You know, some of y'all be lying about getting them booty shots. Shout out to my, anyway, let's stay focused on my news. So the lyric isn't about Meg at all. Okay, but women getting surgery. Also last year, Joe Budden apologized after joking about Megan's mental health, saying, I'm apologizing for the careless manner in which I joked about her mental health. That didn't sit right with my soul. Good for you, Joe Budden, for correcting that. You know, when the spirit is speaking, you better acknowledge that. And my spirit, because whether you believe her or not, or don't believe her, can you afford to be wrong? Okay, and the answer is no, according to Joe Budden. All right, so whether you believe her, can you afford to be wrong? Like, for someone to say that they've been shot by someone, and for us to say no, you didn't, and she was there, like, that's another level. That's another level of that's what they call victim shame. Yeah, that's victim shaming. Like, that's harsh, y'all. If you were one of those people that did that to her, you know, just, you know, say a little silent prayer and ask for a little forgiveness, you know, because that's not cool. That's not cool. And they, like someone said, what if that was your mother? What if that was your aunt? What if that was your sister? That someone did that too? How would you feel? All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to head out. I appreciate you all for joining us. I appreciate you for watching. Until next time, stay tuned for my news.